All right, we're live.
Hey, and
All
Bill
right,
is there waiting for us.
brother
Well,
Bill.
yeah, good old Bill. Well, I
Uh,
think I may have told you, Brandon. Before you get to your introductions, that I bought the OmniWall kit, the Weekend Warrior from OmniWall 2 or 3 years ago, and got that for tool storage because I can see everything.
right.
And it's the heavy pegboard. They got a myriad of fixtures and stuff. I love that thing. In fact, I'm buying more panels because I got it so overcrowded now. I need to add more panels so I can spread the stuff out a little bit. But
Right.
I can see everything. Rollaways are great. Rolling toolboxes are great. I had four. I'm down to two, and everything's up on the wall with the OmniWall system. Well, I got rid of two boxes that freed up a lot of floor space. And if I need working on the project on the other side of the shop, I just throw the tools I need off the Omni wall into the service cart, wheel it over there, and away I go. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've got. Well, there was a pegboard section in here when we moved in, um, and it's not very big. I want to say it's a 4x3 pegboard panel.
Yeah.
Um, and I bought all the little pegboard hooks. I think it was like a 300 or 400 piece kit. It's got all kinds of different style hooks, and it's got some of those little plastic trays you can hang for like a bolt bin or whatever.
Right.
And I never
Did it have
utilized the whole pegboard with that, but there's so much crap on the pegboard already.
did it have the plastic clips that captivate the hooks so they don't slip out of the holes? And hey, there's
Um,
Morgan.
Hello, hello.
it had
Oh gosh, this one's way high.
it has well, it has little plastic caps that go on the end. Like if you're facing it, they would be facing you to keep you from like gouging your face or your arm or something.
Yeah, yeah. Because years
But
ago I had the standard tempered hardboard pegboard
right,
with the cheesy little hooks, and they'd always fall out. And so I found those plastic strips with hooks on the end that would snap into the holes on each side of the hook and hold it in place.
right.
And that worked okay. But then I've discovered the Omni wall system, and yeah, no more peg, no more hardwood pegboard in my shop. So
Right. Oh, hey, Chip.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
Bill, you definitely want to check out Omni wall if you're gonna do stuff in your shop. If I think about it, I'll do a short little video. I need to do a long-term review on mine anyway, so I'll put that up in the next couple of weeks, and then you can see what I'm talking about. Not that I'm crashing Brandon and Morgan's video and doing a paid promotion or anything,
You're fine.
no,
which
no,
I'm not, but anyway.
you're totally fine. Oh, yeah. So, well, the place we live at, we rent this house. We actually just renewed our lease, 2 months ago?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And this is not a permanent situation. At some point, we're gonna move we're gonna move out of Washington. It is unreasonably expensive to live here.
Hey, that's my old home state. And when I retired, we got out of there. Two things: the weather was killing my wife, literally, and Nancy and you could compare notes, Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, I bet I'm going
and,
through it right now.
and then I've got a good federal retirement. I was kind of in the middle management of the scale, and we could not afford to live up there on my pension. It's gotten just way ridiculous. So yeah.
Uh, yeah, and so let's see. So my job is very heavily construction based, and um, when the Sound Transit light rail project wrapped up, work basically nosedive for construction. 2-3 years ago, there was something like 27 or 28 working tower cranes between Seattle and Bellevue.
Wow.
And my boss was telling me the other day he took his boys up to the Space Needle, and he only saw 3 cranes total in Seattle working.
Wow. Yeah, I remember, let's see, before I went in the Naval Shipyard System, late 70s, I was working for Pac Rainier, which is, it was up off of Stone Avenue, North Seattle off Aurora.
Yep.
And it was primarily a roofing company, but they had an architectural sheet metal division, which was what I did. And so they could do complete bids. We do the roofing and the sheet metal. And I remember just everything was exploding up there. I worked on the big addition to the Boeing plant in Everett, and it was just crazy. And then all of a sudden, the economy tanked in 1980. Interest rates hit almost 20%. Building stopped. I mean,
Yeah.
it just everything ended. And out of a 15-man sheet metal crew, it was down to me and the foreman, and I knew who was next. So that's how I wound up in the Naval Shipyard System, and I stayed there, for 35 years, and the rest, as they say, is history. So
Yeah, so I'm originally from Portland. I spent my whole life there. When I turned 30, so it's kind of a weird deal because I'm not a fan of this area at all. Never have been. Too many people for me. It's too crowded. You can't make good time unless you leave a week early. But so I actually moved here for the job that I have now. And it was kind of interesting how it all came about. So I had there was a company, and you may have heard of them, Redmond Heavy Haul.
oh yeah.
So back in the day, I was never on their payroll, but I did a bunch of contractor work for Redmond. I was always over there helping them out, move their stuff around, or so the boss there at the time, one day he goes, well, how come you don't work for me? And I was like, well, I applied here a couple of times, and I've called, and we haven't got to your application yet, or we're not hiring. And he goes, well, we screwed up. He goes, well, listen, if you ever need a job, you give me a call. I was like, okay. And so several years went by, and then all of a sudden he wasn't at Redmond anymore, and no idea, what happened, where he went, whatever. Fast forward to 2014, Van Dyke hired us to help out with some noise wall deliveries on 405 up in Kirkland.
Oh yeah.
And I ended up with a flat tire, so I called their office, and he answered, and I was like, oh man, I haven't seen her talk to you in, I don't know, a couple 3 years. And so long story short, I said, hey, the last time I saw you, you left me with a standing job offer saying if you ever need a job, give you a call. I said, does that still apply here at Van Dyke? And he goes, absolutely. A month later, I had packed up my entire life, everything I'd ever known. I'm out of my family. I'm the only one here, other than I have a cousin that lives up here. And I came to work a week or two before Thanksgiving in 2014, and I had no idea what dead season was in the trucking industry, because the place that I work for, I could work 70 hours a week and have no shortage of hours. I couldn't tell you what the economy was doing. We were hauling hundreds of thousands of tons of armor plate for the military.
Oh wow.
And so I came here, and all of a sudden worked as one of these, and it stayed down until about late April of 15. and I'm thinking, crap, did I make the right choice here? And I still ask myself that. And it's 11 years later.
You found a home.
Yeah, I did. So it's a labor of love. Like, I mean, I make a living doing it and I absolutely love it, but it has just gotten so expensive up here. I mean, I don't know how people make it. Even well, here's to put a spin on it. 4 years ago, I was looking at moving back down to the Vancouver area because we had opened up a terminal down there, and all my family's in Portland. And I was looking at a house and I was getting ready to make an offer on it. It was 950 square foot and it was $575,000 in Vancouver. And
Wow.
at that moment, the picture didn't dawn on me until that moment that a six-figure income is not worth more than 70 grand was back in 2010.
Yeah. 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 Housing is crazy. We've got a daughter in Tacoma. She's a neonatal intensive care nurse. So she makes pretty good money. And single mom, she's got, her little 7-year-old grandson. And she cannot afford to buy a house. She's been wanting to buy a house for 3 or 4 years, and it just not in the cards. She doesn't make enough. And when you think about, what she's earning, I mean, she's making more than I was as a top step GS-12 working for the Navy. And she's making more than I was in my working life. And I thought, and she can't afford to buy a house on that. It's gotten ridiculous. It's crazy. So
It is. Hey, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. No, it's absolutely insane the cost of everything, and they just passed the largest tax hike in the state's history here recently. The fuel prices through the roof. Like, this is how bad it is. I got excited the other day. I was down in Fife and saw that the diesel price was $4.79.
oh wow.
Like, I was happy
I don't
about
want
that.
to. I don't want to tell you what it is here. Then I don't want to depress you. But
Well, I already know once you get away from the coastal states, it steeply drops.
it does. It does
Yeah.
quite a bit. Right now, diesel here um, is running between 339 and 359. I'm paying about 285 for regular unleaded gas,
Yeah.
and so in other areas of the country are cheaper than here, but it all depends. A lot of it depends on your local and state tax structure on fuel too.
Yes.
So it's going to vary quite a bit. But
So I came across there's a fuel program, and it's not a gimmick. So it's actually offered by a trucking company, but they offer it to people to fuel their RVs and stuff like that, and you get pretty significant discounts per gallon at the truck stops.
huh, cool.
Currently, it's only good for buying diesel, but it's called Open Roads. And how it works is you sign up for the program, and then you just attach it to your whatever checking account you want, and basically it's like a debit card for diesel.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I do a similar thing with a program called Upside, and it's not it, but it's for all fuels, and I get typically about 10 cent a gallon discount. Well, I couple that. I just got a Circle K down the road here, so I get all my gas there. Well, they got their own program,
right.
and I typically get 5 to 10 cents a gallon off through them too. So I couple those two together, and I do pretty good on fuel
Nice.
price that way. And but yeah, Upside. And Oh, geez, Glenn's in here.
Oh yeah. Glenn, how's it going, bud? Anthony Napier won my first giveaway. Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
Glenn, do you still have that International Harvester sign, or did that get given away? See, I've been fighting with Joey over that now for a couple of months.
Is it a vintage or is it a repop?
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. Glenn's been kind of hoarding it off to the side, not showing it too much lately. So
Right, right. Oh, he says I do. It will be last, Matt.
okay, cool. So
Hey,
I'm hanging on to hope then.
Glenn, we are all subscribed.
Excuse me.
It's a street sign. Okay,
Yeah, that's right. It's really nice looking street sign too. So
nice. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
yeah. So hey, Brandon, I was going to ask you here a while back. You were fabric cobbling around in your shop, and you came up with a bracket for hanging your cutoff wheels and flap
Yeah.
discs and stuff like that. Did you ever get a chance to experiment and try to create multiples on one piece of metal where you can hang flap discs and cut off wheels and things like that?
So
Or are you waiting for the plasma table to get installed?
no. Okay, so to answer that question in full, one, the plasma table would make it 100% more efficient, and the cuts would be smoother. But it's funny you mention that because me and Morgan were just talking about doing that, putting it on like
yesterday.
yeah, like literally yesterday. She was like, "Hey, what if we took like 3 or 4 of these and put them in line on like a piece of angle iron or something?" And I was like, "You know what? That's a great idea." And I have a stockpile of blanks cut out, and they're all cleaned up and they're drilled and all that. I just have to put them in the vise and bend them.
Cool.
But that is something, and because right over here on the wall, I have 2 individual ones literally in line, and they're just screwed into a wall stud. But that would be ideal. You could put 3 or 4 or 5, and
Right.
space them out, like you said. But that is actually in the works. It's just I've been working all over the clock right now. Like I
hear
actually
ya.
went to work 10 o'clock last night and got home at 9:30 this morning.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the working man saga. You cram everything into the evenings and weekends because that's the only time you have to get anything done. And I remember when I retired, it took me about 2 years to slow down to the retirement pace because I was still cramming everything in as much as I could. Then it suddenly dawned on me, well, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. If I don't get this done today, who cares? So
Yeah.
I slowed down quite a bit, because I mean, all my working life I was in production. So everything is, production schedule, you got to get it done, got to get it done. And now I'm become a lazy old fat man. And if I don't get it done, I don't care.
Every day is Saturday is what my dad says.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Your dad's 100% correct.
Well, let's see. My real dad passed away in 20 right before the whole COVID nonsense. And he was going to retire June of 20. He was a journeyman machine operator for 41 years at the same factory.
Wow.
And he passed away that January. But my stepdad, how old is Dwight now? 70.
5, I think.
He's 75 or 76. But he retired several years ago, and he's busier now that he's retired than when he was actually working.
Yep. I know. I borrowed a phrase from my dad because I remember when my dad retired way back in 1974, he said, I never figured out how I had time to go to work because he's busy all the time. Well, when I retired, it was the same thing. I never have time. How did I ever have time to go to work? I'm doing
Yeah.
all this stuff. So yeah.
So we got a guy that does pilot car work for us when we're moving bridge girders. And he's just cool as hell. He's I think Ed is 90 years old now, and
Wow.
he still he pilots the loads with I think it's a 65, was it
I don't think it's like a 68.
a 68 Ford Bronco.
It's
Oh
pretty.
wow.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Yeah.
The good ones. The desirable ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, oh
Yeah.
man. It's probably got a little 302 in it, a C4 or a C6.
Yep, that's exactly. It's a 302, and it's a healthy one too. But and he takes that thing wheeling. I mean, it's really cool to see how well he's doing at his age. He's sharp as a tack. My grandmother's 91, and she's in a care facility for is it dementia?
Yes.
Yeah, for dementia, and she's bedridden. She at 90, she ended up having 2 hip surgeries because she fell.
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's the bane of elderly people, the fall.
Yeah. And
She
was so afraid of falling again that she decided that she wasn't doing physical therapy and she was just going to lay in bed. And so she's actually on hospice right now.
That's too bad. Sorry for her.
Yeah.
But, hey, at 91, she's had quite a ride. So
well, and she survived the war. She was a little girl in Germany during the war.
oh my.
Yeah.
That must have been I had an aunt. She's been gone for several years now. She's a Croat from the former Yugoslavia. She's a war bride. My uncle met her over there when he was in the army. Man, she had some stories about living under Nazi occupation in World War II and the slave camps and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, she had some real stories to tell, and it amazes me that whole generation it's the reason why they call it the greatest generation. I mean, they survived the Great Depression and went straight into World War II and fought the war. And to this day, I don't know how my dad ever survived, because just trying to get something to eat during the Depression. He came out of the Dust Bowl from Kansas to California with all the other people from Oklahoma and Kansas, and then went in the army in 1939 so he could eat 3 meals a day, and then boom, wound up in Southeast Asia for 3 years getting shot at.
Yeah.
So it was amazing generation. I like to think I'm tough, but no, I'm not tough compared to what my dad went through.
My grandpa, prior to starting working in school, my grandpa I was an insurance agent for veterans, and he was telling me stories about his time when he was in the Korean War, and he is one of the strongest people I've known. Like, crazy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my grandpa was in the army. He met grandma in Germany, married her, brought her stateside. She didn't speak a lick of English. She had to teach herself how to read, write, and speak English.
My aunt was the same way. She could speak 5 European languages, but didn't know any English. So,
yeah. And so, like it was funny. My brother, years ago, my grandma needed a new car, and he's like, "Grandma, why don't you buy a Mercedes?" He goes, "You're retired. You can afford it. It's a really nice car." My grandmother flat out told him, "I live in America. I buy American made." and I was like, wow. And my mom brought up the fact that all of Grandma's appliances were Lady Kenmore, and that's all
Yep.
she would buy.
Yep. Same with my mom. Yep. Same thing. It's just they get that brand, the brand that has served them well, and that's all they buy. And so yeah, that's
I'll
really
be honest.
something.
I miss Sears.
I do too. I don't know what Sears corporate was thinking. I mean, they were the Amazon of their time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the catalog sales from 100 years ago, well, that's just like going online on Amazon today and ordering off the website. Well, in those days, you ordered off the catalog. Why they didn't see the handwriting on the wall when the digital age was coming to life and Amazon was starting up, Sears could have shifted gears and dominated that whole market. And then when they sold the Craftsman brand to Stanley or Black and Decker, whoever owns it now, and I go, you just gave away the farm.
yeah. Well,
So
so when they filed bankruptcy, that was part of the agreement, or not agreement, but requirements for the bankruptcy. They had to sell Craftsman.
yeah,
Which
that
is
was the final straw.
because the tools suck now.
Yeah, they're made in China.
Yeah,
They have the Craftsman name on it, but all they are is a Chinese clone with the Craftsman name, and which
I-
is really tragic. I mean, I've got vintage Craftsman stuff out in my shop that I bought,
yeah,
50 years ago, and I I guard them jealously now because it's the real stuff. It's not
Just like
not the fake stuff. I don't know if you ever watch what the heck is it? Well, there's Failure at Retirement, one channel, and then the other one, what's George's channel's name? You Want to Watch. Well, pretty much all these guys do is reveals of tools that they've got at flea markets and swap meets and stuff like that. And George at You Want to Watch, he's always coming up with these vintage real Craftsman tools. And I mean,
right.
they've changed the logo every so often over the years. And he knows instantly looking at the logos, oh, those are from the 30s, these are the real
Yeah,
good ones. And then he can go on and on into the 50s and 60s. And he's done all that research. And then he restores them, he cleans them up. He uses a product. It's kind of like Evaporust, but it's Deox C, the letter C. And
okay,
I think he buys it in Europe. He orders it and brings it in, and that's his go-to for derusting. And he brings these tools back to life. They're gorgeous.
right.
They're like brand new. If I did something like that, I'd hang them on the wall and I'd never touch them again.
Oh,
They're too
uh,
nice.
speaking of vintage tools, I want to show you something. They're actually right here. I got these at an antique shop up in Cedro Woolley, and I
Ah,
paid $20 a piece for them. And I need to fix them.
oh man, beam clamps. Look at
Yeah,
that.
I don't know who this is made by, but I'm guessing this has got to be probably from the at the earliest the 50s.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it needs a little swivel foot right here. It's the only thing I don't have, and I tried taking a piece of solid bar and drilling it out, and then thinning the upper walls and slicing them so I could crimp them back around on this thing. Yeah,
Right,
that
right.
didn't work. I don't have the I don't have the metric tonnage to clamp it. But there was this one, and then there's this big one.
Oh, look at that. That's a nice C clamp. Man, what is that? A 12-inch?
I think it is a 12.
Wow.
It's and this one is EC Stearns and Co. Out of Syracuse, New York.
That's a nice. Oh, look at that old school T handle on that thing. Oh man.
Yeah, this This thing is super old.
Yeah, with that style of T handle, I'm betting that's 1930s.
Yeah. And I got, like I said, I got it for $20. I kind of went across right here with the wire wheel because I was trying to read what it said. But other than that, I haven't done anything to it. And
Oh,
it's
that's
cast. Here's the casting flash.
look at that. That's a sweet clamp.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of C clamps, not quite that big, but several of them I was thinking about cutting the T off the screw and welding on a hex so I could put a socket on there and an impact, because when you're sitting there twirling that T handle, and you need 3 hands when you're trying to fit something up and then get a C clamp on it, and you're sitting there twirling the handle forever, trying to get it in there. And I thought, well, why don't I just weld some hexes on these things, put an impact on it, and go brrr, and be done with it. So yeah, I think Mr. Pete 222, his channel, his machinist channel, he's done that, and I've seen him do that on his. So well, Arco's got he's got a horde. That guy's got I bet you he's got a full building with nothing but vintage
Hammers.
tools. Well, just the hammers. I got several hammers in my shop that I've written right on them, say not Arcos.
I I literally I sent Arco a text message showing him that new drill press, and I took a paint pen and on the side in giant letters I wrote not Arcos. What did I oh no, I didn't build it. I rented a ball joint press, and I just used the impact on that. I had on my square body, one of the U joints took a dump, and I had never replaced a U joint before, and so the U joint took a dump, and the carrier bearing crapped out all at the same time.
Yeah, carrier bearings are the worst.
Yeah, I had never done either. This was like my first time, and so I dropped the drive shaft out, and then I realized the output shaft seal on the transmission was leaking. Had never done one of those before either. Actually, that one wasn't too bad. The hardest part about that one was getting the old seal out.
Yeah. You went to school on that project.
Yeah, it was definitely an educational moment all the way around.
Years ago, I had a 76 Dodge 3/4 ton, had the 400 in it, automatic. And I had the same thing. U-joint and carrier bearing went out. And it was extended cab with the full 8-foot box. So that drive line was about 40 feet long,
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, back then I didn't have a shop, living up there in Washington. My shop was a blue tarp for years. And so I'm out there wrenching on this Dodge. And I finally get it all apart, get everything, get all the new parts, put it all back together. But when I put it all back together, I didn't get that driveline indexed right when I put it back together. And I went off down the road. I thought the windshield was going to fall out. It was vibrating so bad. And I tried every which way to get that lined up, and I was failing miserably. So finally I got frustrated. I took it all out, and I went down at that time. See, it was in Manchester, Washington. There's a driveline shop there, Kitsap Drivelines. And I took it down there, and he took one look at it, and he goes, disconnect it here, rotate it 90 degrees, and reconnect it, and it'll save you $80. So I did. I could have kissed that guy, because I fought that for 3 or 4 days after work, in the evening, trying to get that truck going again. And then it was smooth as glass after that. And he goes, next time, before you pull one of these apart, match mark them. And because I was in my, well, how old was I? I don't remember. Well, let's see. I had all 4 kids by then, so I was in my mid 30s. And but same thing. I'd never done a carrier bearing before. I'd done several drive lines before, but U joints, but not one that long with a carrier bearing. And now I guess the newer carrier bearings are a nightmare, the way they're assembled, and what you got to do to get them apart. And
So that's one thing that was the first thing I did before I pulled the drive shaft out is I took a paint pen and I made a mark that way.
Smart move.
And then when I went to, I don't think that drive shaft had ever been out before. And so I took it out and I wire wheeled the entire thing except for that a little 1-inch square on each section where I put the paint mark. And it's still rusty in that 1-inch square on both sections. And there's still a paint mark there. But I did that. And then I wire wheeled the entire shaft. Excuse me. And then I painted everything gloss black, made it look brand new again. But I had,
Except the rusty spot.
yeah, except there's 2 inches of the drive shaft that are rusty. But I had several U joints that were seized in there. The caps would not come out.
Yeah.
And so like I used a ball joint press and it would only move so far and then it would just completely stop. And I did not want to bend the yokes and because I have done that on a Dodge front axle before and screwed it up. It grenaded
Yeah.
after.
I've
But,
seen guys wail on those things in a vise, and I'm just cringing because you're seeing that yoke, you know,
oh yeah.
get realigned, if you know what I mean. So
Well, I had a 07 Dodge 4-wheel drive, and we took it to a trucking outfit's shop that my buddy worked at, and we were trying to press out the U joint, and you could actually see this 100-ton hydraulic press frame starting to do this, and the
holy smokes.
yeah, and the
That's when you need the safety cage around all of it because you know it's going to explode when it
yeah,
finally lets go.
yeah, and the thing is that that damn U joint wasn't budging at all.
Huh.
So we ended up putting a new axle shaft in because there was no way it was coming out without.
Yeah, better part of valor. Sometimes it's just time when you, well, you know, a lot of guys don't think about it, but your time is valuable. I mean, you look at your hourly rate, what you're earning, what your wage earning is. And I mean, that's what your time is worth. And when you just got 3 or 4 hours wrapped up fighting something like that, and then you add up your hourly rate, you know, I can just go buy a driveline and not fight this rusty crap, you know.
Oh yeah,
And so it makes sense.
it does. So I fabric cobbled a makeshift deal out of scrap metal that I had laying around.
Perfect.
And what I did was I put the drive shaft yoke in the bench vise, and I welded a piece of threaded rod directly to the U joint cap, and then I put a plate over it that I drilled a hole in, and then I put a big socket on there, I put a big socket on there, and then another plate, and then I just took a nut and that big impact gun. That was one of the half a dozen uses, and I just slowly started working it out, and all of a sudden, you just watched it do this, and everything fall off the vise, and then the U joint had come out.
Yeah.
I was damaging the ball joint press trying to get that out. That's how seized in there they were, and I took all the spring clips out.
You know, I got to do the upper and lower ball joints on my truck, and tie rod ends and all of that. It's got 110,000 miles on it. I mean, it's 25 years old. It's a 2000 Ram.
Right.
But of course, back then, when they built it in the factory, all the ball joints and all that stuff, they are sealed at the factory. They're lubed and sealed at the factory. No grease zerks. Well, 25 years of and 110,000 miles. I don't even want to think about trying to blow those things apart, you know, because I'm sure it's going to put up a fight. And
Yeah.
so, but I mean, just what I got to deal with when I finally decide to do that job. So
Right. So on the carrier bearing thing, I wasn't sure. I'd watched some videos on how to remove them, and I went and did the tool loaner program at O'Reilly's or AutoZone, whatever, and the 3-finger pullers wouldn't reach the backside of the bearing, and so actually what works really well is on Amazon. I think I paid $20 or $40, something like that. It's a clamshell that clamps behind it, and it's got 2 threaded rods that go through.
oh
And then
yeah, right.
then you have your big rod that goes right through the center, and that's what you put the crescent wrench on, or the socket or whatever. And I put all that in the vise, put that on there, and it would just kind of do this, and then all of a sudden it was like off. And then now the next task is putting the new one back on. So
Yeah.
I took a piece of pipe. I think it was 1.25 inch ID, just big enough to fit over the spline shaft. And I welded a 3/16 plate to the end of it, and I just took a BFH and just tapped it back on until it's seated in place. And
Right.
the job was actually easier than I thought it was. I always thought doing U-joints and that stuff was hard, and I everybody I'd talked to had never done a carrier bearing. They'd always had the driveline shop do it.
Right. Yeah.
So
it can be done. You got to be patient and
yeah,
and a good selection of great big hammers.
yeah. We got good.
We had a saying in the shipyard. It was just standard procedure: get a bigger hammer. And I mean, you got hammers that you couldn't even pick up. I mean, there's some big guys wielding some big hammers, and I've got an antique post pounder out in the shop I use for a door stop. And originally I thought it was a blacksmith's hammer when they were doing heavy forgings. And you
Right.
have one guy on each side of the forging, hammering it with these big hammers. And then I found out later it's actually a post pounder. I can't pick it up. That's too heavy. I could pick it up off the floor, but there's no way I'm going to swing that over my shoulder.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
snap every bone in my body as soon as that makes contact with something. But it's a big hammer. It'll do some serious damage.
Yeah. So in my toolbox, I have I think it's a 9-pound maul hammer,
Oh yeah.
and basically a baby sledgehammer. And Morgan took a paint pen and wrote the classic on it, because you can't beat a classic.
I wrote the classic, and then my dead blow that you got me because I broke my other one.
Oh yeah. Morgan blew out her plastic dead blow, and it was leaking all the sand out of it.
Oh no.
And so I went down to Hobo Freight and I got her an orange one, and you can see how long that lasted. I think there's
So what you're saying is don't loan hammers to Morgan?
Everything will be pink.
Yeah, there's 3 cans of pink spray paint on this one hammer.
I have to hold the sand in.
But when my dad passed away, I got his it's an actual Sears brand Craftsman toolbox. Yeah. And I brought it home. It took me forever to go through it, and I still haven't organized it, by not even close. But I was like, I'm looking online and I'm like, crap, I need this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool. And I went and bought it as opposed to going into Dad's toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
Dad's toolbox has so much stuff in there that I was like, crap, well, I'll just take mine back and use this, because I know he took it from work, so it's good stuff. It's
We had a saying in the shipyard. Um, I mean, you've been in that naval shipyard in Bremerton. I mean, it's 6 miles long from main gate to the west end gate. And when you wind through the deadboat fleet and all that kind of stuff, well, the main drag from east to west is Farragut Avenue, named after Admiral Farragut from way back in the day.
Right.
Well, we had a joke, you know, you go over to Buddy's house on the weekend, and he's got the toolbox open and working on stuff, and then you reach in and you fish a tool out of his toolbox and you hold it like this and you go, oh, that looks like it came from Farragut Avenue Hardware. So that was a standard joke. And then your buddy get mad. You look real close. There's no NSNID numbers on that. And I go, yeah, I see the grinding marks where you ground them off. But that was always a joke. Farragut Avenue Hardware. And oh yeah. Our first house, Nancy and I, we're 22 years old and we don't know anything. And of course, the first house we buy, it's a wreck. It's a disaster. I had a buddy of mine in the sheet metal shop. He says, get a gallon of gas and a match. Well, we
Nice.
spent 8 years rebuilding this house from the foundation up. You talk about an education and a true test of a relationship.
Right.
Well, of course, it's a Navy town, and it was a World War II house. Every chunk of plumbing pipe and every chunk of wiring in that house was lunch pail length. It all came out of Farragut Avenue Hardware. And when I went to rewiring that house, to this day, and my dad's an electronics mechanic. He'd come over and help me wire that thing, and he'd be standing in the attic looking around. And he goes, "How in the world did this place not burn down?"
Right. Right.
But all that stuff was lunch pail length. Oh man! Same with the plumbing. It's just a disaster.
Oh, speaking of World War II houses, so you're from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember the town of Vanport?
Vanport.
It was
Vanport. Is that
it-
on the east side of Elliott Bay or the west side?
Nope. Vanport is actually in Portland, just across the Columbia River from Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah.
So
All right.
down where the racetrack and the expo center are now.
Right, where they used to have the Portland swap meet and all that years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So a friend of
Mhm.
mine, she was renting a house out on Savi's Island. It's a farmhouse, and I was helping her move some stuff around, and I was like, this. I walked in, and I'm like, the layout of this house doesn't make any sense. Like, it's almost like this house has been spliced together. Turns out that's exactly what it was. It was two separate house halves that were spliced together. And the homes they put in Vanport were the original mobile homes.
Wow.
They were like 2-story homes, but they were manufactured and shipped in sections to Vanport.
So kind of like modular then.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
modular. So they were two different houses that they just pieced together. It was half of one house and half of another house, and I don't know what happened to the other halves of those houses, but they put this together because it didn't make sense. Nothing was like where it's supposed to be.
Hey, they did what they had to do. When I was a kid growing up, my folks had an old family friend. He was quite elderly when I was a kid. Well, he was a Finnish carpenter, quite a craftsman. And he drove a gorgeous 59 Plymouth Savoy with the big fins on the back.
Oh yeah.
His name was Ralphie. Well, anyway, during World War II, Ralphie was one of the many carpenters that built all the World War II housing in and around Bremerton, because Bremerton swelled to a huge population because of the shipyard running 24/7.
Right.
Well, he said what they had to do to conserve lumber, he said all those houses, they're not framed in 2x4s, they're framed in 2x3s. And they did that to conserve wood. so they could frame. They figured out how many board feet were in the house and how much they could save by going to 2x3s, and they would give them that much more board footage total in all of these housing projects. So imagine somebody remodeling one of those homes and going to Lowe's to get lumber and then realize that you got to rip an inch off of everything you're framing with to get it to work, or you have all these offsets all over your wall.
Yeah, yeah, that's got to make it. Well, it's going to be a not so pleasant surprise after you'd already bought the materials.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then,
Just make one change.
I wish we would have bought one of those houses instead of the one we remodeled, because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man.
Spend any time at the Horse and Cow?
well, ask
At the
him.
barn. Did you ever spend any time at the Horse and Cow in Bremerton?
The Horse and Cow? Oh, yeah.
Such
Yeah.
a fun little place.
Yep.
Many good
The Horse and
memories.
Cow. They renamed that. Oh, what the heck was the name of that? I can't think now. It's been 10 years since I've lived there. But yeah, I remember the Horse and Cow. Well,
Some good times.
I-
Navy bar.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I've been into that base a bunch of times. They have a Wendy's in the base now.
wow. They've upscaled.
Yeah. Actually,
Well-
we just moved one of Kiewit Construction's massive crawler cranes in there because I think I told you a while back they're bringing the Roosevelt in for retrofit.
Really?
Yeah, and apparently the dry docks aren't big enough.
They're not. They barely fit. The Dry Dock 6 barely fits the Nimitz class carriers. I
Yeah,
worked on a lot of Nimitz class carriers in Dry Dock 6. Barely fits. The new Ford class, which is the biggest aircraft carrier in the world, will not fit in Dry Dock 6.
right.
Plus the fact that the floor of Dry Dock 6 is sinking. So
Yeah.
they got to build Dry Dock 7 to account for those new super carriers to fit
I
in
think-
there.
I think 2 years ago, they were either working on 5 or 6 there. They redid the floor in it.
It must have been Dry Dock 6. 'Cause
I think
that,
so. So when you
that
come
was
down,
problematic for years.
right? When you come down the main drag, once you go past the CIA gate,
Yeah, Farragut
Um,
Avenue.
yep, Farragut Avenue. There's like the administration building with the cafeteria on the bottom, and then there's a dry dock right there.
Right. Yep.
That's the one they completely redid.
Okay. Yeah, the dry docks are not in order
Right.
because it goes like Dry Dock 1, Dry Dock 3, Dry Dock 2, 4, 5, and 6. I spent most of my career early on.
What's that?
Let's see. Early on, Dry Dock 3, I spent a lot of time there. Did some work in Dry Dock 1. I vaguely remember doing a cruiser in Dry Dock 2, but I spent most of my career on the waterfront in Dry Dock 5 and Dry Dock 6. Dry Dock 5 submarines, Dry Dock 6 carriers. And
Right.
Before I went white collar, talk about being a working stiff. And we had 4 kids. And of course, kids don't stay small. And as they get bigger, the expenses go up exponentially. And Bill can attest to this.
My dad calls
So
me-
about 1988, I realized that as a mechanic on the waterfront with 4 kids and orthodontic bills and
Right.
boys growing like weeds and, trying to keep them in pants and shoes, plus a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and a dozen eggs a day trying to feed them. And so I had to move up the food chain
Yeah.
quite a bit. So the second half of my career, I was on the white collar side of things, and then it was behind a desk and in the offices, and I really did not like that. I really missed the waterfront, and I missed working in the sheet metal shop. But life kind of dictated my priorities for me, and
Right.
it's just the
That's
way it goes.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
When you're a family man and you got kids and all that, you got to do what you got to do to put food on the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, and
I was
aside,
just-
a side note to that, when we were young with all these kids, of course, me being me, you always find the $200 beater and fix it up enough, and that's what you drive.
Right.
And I did that for years, before I was married, and then after I was married, I never changed my MO. And finally, one day, Nancy announced that I had a 69 Dodge Coronet, probably one of the most dependable cars we ever had, but it was a typical Chrysler of that period. When it rained outside, it rained harder in the car than outside the car.
It had pinholes in the lead welds.
She was tired of driving to church all dressed up and then, water leaking on her legs everywhere, and then finally one day she announced, I think we were ready to replace the Coronet, and then she announced no more leaky beaters. had to go find her something that was fairly nice to drive. And
Right.
we could probably do, Bill and you and me and several of the other guys, we could probably do a 4-hour program on all the leaky beaters we've had over the years.
Potatoes.
And share
I'm spilling a coffee in there.
and share how we kept them on the road,
Oh.
because that would really be entertaining.
You know,
I don't
actually,
know. I quite prefer drain holes in the floor.
so you were talking about it, it rained harder in the car than it did outside.
It did.
So I had a 73 or 75 GMC square body 4-wheel drive, and it rained from the floor up. There was well, the thing was,
When you get in it, you don't hit the floor with your boots too hard, or all the water will splash up on you.
well, exactly. But the issue is on the driver and passenger side of that truck, there was no floor at all. There was
Oh, I
just
believe
the
it.
ground.
Yeah.
Getting open.
Yeah, and so Pecos, the 77 we got now, it has rot holes in the floor, but I want to say the biggest one is probably 2.5 inches. It's not a huge, like your foot's not going through it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not yet. Yeah. The keyword is yet. The keyword is yet. But I've got the floor pans. So I bought 2 different style of floor pans. I bought actual patch panels, and then I bought drop-in pans. And there's a difference. The drop-ins, all their flanges are tipped up towards the roof. Yeah. And then the patch panels, they come with a section of the rocker, and all the flanges are tipped down along the sides, and then obviously they toe up for the kickboard. Right. But I know on the passenger side, it's going to need a rocker, an inner rocker. And the driver's side, I don't think it does, but I don't know. So anyway, I bought the 2 different styles because that way I have plenty of whatever I'm going to need between the 4 pans to cobble it together. Because I don't, basically from the seat hump to where the toe board is. Wait a minute. Oh, hang on a sec here. I just got a notification that my battery's running low on the computer, and I forgot to turn the switch on the power strip.
No.
Crisis averted.
There you go.
But so it's I'm going to start doing some exploratory cutting on it here. I kind of screwed the pooch and waited too long. Now it's rainy season, but
yeah, well, blue tarp. I mean, it's Western Washington. It's blue tarp.
I got a brand new one that Morgan painted on already, so that the paint should make it waterproof.
Perfect. There you go. Yeah, you look just like one of the homeless encampments going along I-5.
Oh man!
The difference is I'm going to autograph this one.
No, the homeless have upgraded. They have actual tents now.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they
taxpayer expense, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have. There's one by our yard off of Highway 16 right there at Union Ave.
Okay.
It's I think it's a 6-person tent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
You know, talking about leaky beaters, there's a guy I worked with, older guy, and kind of took me under his wing. We're in the layout department of the sheet metal shop, and his name was Royce. Good guy. And I don't even know if he's still with us. But anyway, he had a commuter car. It's about a 72 or 73 Dodge Dart, 2-door, typical slant six. And same thing like my 69 Coronet, it rained harder in the car than out. And he drove that car for years. Well, anyway, he was off work for a couple of weeks. I don't know if he was on vacation or what it was. And so he came back, get ready to go to work, and he goes out there one rainy, soggy morning, and he opens the door to get in and start this thing up. And he said a frog jumped out, and growing out of the carpet of the car were all these mushrooms. So yeah, he shared that little story, when he got to work. But I mean, it's just the way it was up there.
oh
You
yeah.
know, you know what it's like. I mean, it's just soggy all the time, and if your car leaks,
Mhm.
You're
you
gonna
got
have a
moldy
mushroom
carpet.
Yep.
You just tear the carpet out and put rubber floor mats in, and then drill a
Yeah.
couple of holes in the floorboard to drain the water out.
That's how I roll every vehicle.
Oh, well, okay. So speaking of draining water, so we put a 60-gallon air compressor in, and I've got a auxiliary air dryer that comes right out of the tank,
Yeah,
and
I've got one too.
I drained it the other day, and there must have been at least a cup and a half of water that come out of it. And then I was like, well, if there's that much in that air dryer, the tank's probably got a crap ton in it.
Yep.
And I was telling Morgan, I was like, we need to start draining this thing. And she's like, well, we haven't done it yet. I'm like, yeah, but it's a lot of moisture up here. So I yesterday, after I got done cutting out some metal pumpkins for her, she built a
Forbid it.
paper towel rack, a Halloween theme. It turned out really good. But anyway, I got down there. It took me like half a second to get down on the floor and 10 minutes to get back up. But
I can relate to that.
yeah, but I cracked the valve on the bottom, and holy crap, I want to say half a gallon came out of there.
I believe it. Even down here in Arizona,
So this was the
typically,
thing.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
Thank you.
double-sided. It's all
Nicely done.
I think this
I
is
like that.
12 gauge is what the pumpkins are made out of.
Yeah.
I wanted it heavy enough that when I'm reaching across the table, it doesn't fall over.
Nicely done, Morgan. That looks cool.
What's the base? Is that it's not 3/16, is it?
I
I don't know, but
don't know.
it's got a 1-inch solid round bar for the.
Yeah,
It probably weighs 10 pounds.
it's not going nowhere.
Cool. Yeah, you're not going to knock that one over. But
That's my whole plan.
even down here in the desert, I got to drain mine frequently. 'Cause typically our moisture or humidity is like 10%.
Right.
Well, believe it or not, in 10%, you can put a lot of water in your tank pretty fast. Well, I learned a trick from Adam, small town machine shop YouTuber. He's over near the Tri Cities.
Okay.
Machinist. He's a machinist. Independent one-man band machine shop. What he does is he just cracks that valve on the bottom of the tank just enough that you can barely discern that you're losing a little air. That's how he keeps his tank drained, because he got tired of constantly having to open that valve. And of course, southeastern Washington, it's a lot drier than where you're at. And even
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
he constantly having to drain that valve. So he just keeps that cracked. And then if he remembers, when he shuts up the shop for the day, he'll either close the valve or turn the switch off on the compressor and come out in the morning, light it back off again. And that seems to work pretty good. So I'm going to try that. Just a real slow bleed just to keep the water from pooling up.
Right.
And I should probably do a hydro on my tank because it's 20 years old and it's spent half its life in the Pacific Northwest, mounted outside with
Yeah.
a shed roof over it. So last thing I want to do is blow myself up one of these mornings when I turn it on and it comes up to pressure. So I should probably hydro that tank and just to see if it's still good.
Right.
But-
So I was looking on Amazon yesterday, and they make automatic tank drains, and they just plug into a wall, and they have a timer on it. You can get one with a dual timer, so it will drain the tank at different times during the day.
Yeah.
But so they have a couple different ones, and the most expensive one that I found was like $130 or $140. And it's a whole kit. It comes with all the fittings and valving and everything you need. And then they had some other ones that were from like $30 on up to that price point.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, for the cost of that, yeah, it's once you put it in, as long as it doesn't fail, you never have to worry about it. But at the same time, if it only takes me 10 minutes to get up off the ground from draining it, that's probably more cost effective.
Well, a buddy of mine, he closed down his small engine repair shop because he had a lot of health problems and a real bad back, and so he finally just hung it up. And he come out here a couple of years ago. They went to Quartzsite, Arizona, and that his trip coincided with a big show we have over in Welton, Arizona, near Yuma. So him and his wife came down. Unbeknownst to me, he filled the back of his pickup truck with goodies for me since he was closing down his shop. Well, in that hoard of stuff was this automatic tank drain kit from Harbor Freight. And it's still sitting in the package on my desk because I'm afraid to install it because it's from Harbor Freight. And I thought, well, if it works, great. But if it fails, I should just bite the bullet and crawl under there and do it. Because every night when I leave the shop, I turn the switch off on the compressor anyway. I just don't like leaving stuff on, when I'm not in there. And because if something goes wrong and your air compressor kicks on, doesn't shut off, then you burn it up, and then there goes $2,000.
Yeah.
So,
we know. This is the second compressor that we got. The first one never worked.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you plugged it in and turned it on and nothing.
Yeah, and it was it was a whole crapshoot.
Shout out to Tractor Supply.
Yeah, Tractor Supply really took care of us. I'm gonna be real honest. DeWalt's customer service for air compressors is absolute garbage.
That's too bad for a mainline company like that.
For their power tools, great. You have a problem with it, you go to a sales rep and they hand you a new one. Air compressor, it was the most sketchy crap I'd ever heard. They wanted Morgan to pop the steel plate off the build plate and mail it to a PO box somewhere in like Georgia
with no tracking,
and they can't do signed delivery. And the only thing that's going to happen when you do that is that plate's going to disappear.
Yep. And once that's gone, then you got nothing.
Yeah. So
we will not buy another DeWalt tool after that.
Yeah, I because of that whole thing, I will never buy DeWalt tools again.
And we phased out about half.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't buy this because of that whole scenario, but I bought a Milwaukee battery powered die grinder because I wanted one. And DeWalt didn't make one. They still don't make one, but Harbor Freight does.
Yes, they do.
And the price difference is about $150.
Wow.
The problem with the Harbor Freight one is because it's such a new product and they don't have the production ramped up, they're always sold out. They get like 8 per store.
Wow.
But I want to get one because it's $60. You buy a battery and a charger. So say you're into it $100, you're still, $150 less than Milwaukee.
Wow. And now, is it like the Hercules brand or Bauer or
Hercules.
Hercules?
Yeah,
So,
and they're like $60, I think.
are the batteries compatible with the other Hercules line? You can interchange the batteries, or
So they're a smaller. Let me see. I don't have any Harbor Freight power tools, but their battery looks pretty similar to this base.
oh, okay.
But where the Milwaukee kind of loads like a magazine, I think the Harbor Freight one is a slide-in.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I love Milwaukee.
but it looks just like this, except it's blue. And I don't know how well it works. This one works fantastic. This actually works better than the 4.5-inch angle grinder.
Wow. Nice.
And the battery lasts longer too on this.
I run through 2 batteries and then I say corded.
Yeah, but also to be fair, on the 4.5-inch grinder, I'm running 40 grit flap discs. On this die grinder, I'm running 36 grit Rolox.
Nice. I like the Rolox because it's just quarter twist and you swap out and away you go again instead of having to screw around with the collet and all that. And wow, Bill, your air compressor is a 1946 Westinghouse 80-gallon. Is it 2-stage? I don't know if Bill's with us.
Yeah, he just commented the Harbor Freight one is a slide-in battery.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I guess I should read the comments.
I'm catching him as I can. He said he standardized all his battery-powered tools to Bauer and couldn't be happier.
Oh, cool.
Bill,
It's okay. It's single phase. Yeah, I missed out. Nancy and I were at a garage sale or an estate sale a couple years ago. I couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger. They had a Curtis 120-gallon upright air compressor in perfect shape for $600. And the guy says you'll never run out of air.
yeah,
I've got a Husky from Home Depot that's 20 years old, and it can't keep up with a 1/4-inch die grinder. Once you pull a trigger on an air tool, that thing kicks on and it won't shut off until you put the tool down. So
is it just a volume issue?
it's it's supposedly 17 CFM at 90 psi. No, because a 1/4-inch die grinder doesn't draw that much, and it can't keep up with that. It's probably the fact that it's 20 years old and the compressor head's probably getting tired and can't quite pump the volume that needs to happen. But
What's the CFMs on that one?
14.6.
14.
SCFM. 14.6.
Yeah, so ours is 14.6 CFM at 90 psi.
and does it keep up okay with your air tools?
I've been putting it through the ringer with blowing out the shock and all the things, and I'll get happy with the air trigger and just sit out here and blow off all the welders and stuff, and it keeps up with me. And I'll be
There you
at it
go.
for quite some time.
It hasn't had an issue keeping up with the plasma cutters.
Yeah.
Well, that's the test right there because they eat a lot of air. So
I would imagine the plasma cutter probably consumes more air than the air tools themselves do.
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
And that's the reason I bought it was to go with that table. The plasma cutter I got for the table is a Razor Weld Cut 45. And then I have 4 Art Captain plasma cutters.
Wow. Now they sponsor you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sponsored both of us. their cut 50 I actually bought myself prior to the sponsorship, and then they sent another one, and then they sent us their cut 55, which has a pilot arc, which is really nice.
That was my
Nice.
But they work so good, and for under $300, I mean, that razor weld that I have was $1,200. I've
Yeah,
never used
yeah.
it. It's the box is still stapled shut. But also that particular cutter, I don't have a hand torch. I have a machine torch because I bought it specific for the table.
Gotcha.
Which let's talk about plasma cut applications when I'm on with you. Bill, absolutely.
Oh, Bill. Yeah.
I think we're gonna get you on in 2 weeks, Bill. Side note, real quick.
I think it was.
I was supposed to have Glenn on next Saturday, but I actually am working for the military next Saturday, so I can't do it. So there won't be a podcast next Saturday. Sorry, folks.
Maybe someday.
But yeah, the other thing too with the plasma cutter, the cut 50 consumables, I think you can get a pack of, like, I think it's 20, 30, or 40, and it's under $30 for the consumables, and it's a whole kit. It's
That's
your
cheap.
porcelain, your porcelain cups, your electrodes, your cutting nozzles, all that in one pack, and then their cut 55. You get a little bit less in the package, but there's it's right around the same price. That razor weld one that I have, it's about $30 per individual piece, and it's a pack of one.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big difference. Yeah. So you're talking hypotherm prices there.
Yeah. Well, Hypertherm came out with a design that is actually kind of sweet. It's you buy one package, and it's a complete cup that just pops on, and that it has everything in it.
So you're not screwing around with taking all the little parts in and out. That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, I bought a plasma cutter, one of those $200 Chinese specials, 3 or 4 years ago, and it lasted 20 minutes.
Right.
And then my buddy Arnie next door, he's an electronics guy. And so he brought all this gear over, and we're probing with meters and everything else. And we found a couple of MOSFETs that were bad and replaced those. And then a couple of diodes, just general electronic stuff, and plugged it back in, and poof, again. So I got it mounted up on my shelf on the wall with a big yellow sticker from Burr King that says "Real fabricators break Chinese tools." And it's a reminder to me, don't buy the $200 specials, because most people, it works. The $200 specials work great for them and they get good service. But if I buy one of those, guaranteed to fail. I'm just jinxed that way. So, I'm doomed to, if I want a plasma cutter, it better be a hypotherm. And of course that's, what are they now? $2,500 or $3,500, something like that.
Yeah, they take Miller money.
Yeah. Miller's not cheap either. And
No.
so, I still use my old gas axe, but then I went down, the oxygen bottle was empty. So I took it down to get filled. And I was like a week outside the date range, that they have on the bottles.
Oh yeah, the cert.
And they don't, where I go, Phoenix Welding Supply, they got a branch here in Sierra Vista. They don't fill the bottles there anymore. They send them off to Phoenix. Well, they charged me a $40 hydro fee to test the bottle. And before, they just test it. You'd never know. They just test it and recert it and fill your bottle for 20 or 30 bucks, and away you go.
Yeah.
So I'm going, man, this is what's going to happen when I got to fill the acetylene bottle. maybe I can afford to buy a hypertherm now.
Well, so we actually ran into that recently. So, I mean, as you know, the bottle itself is the expensive part.
It is. Yeah, the gas is not.
Yeah, uh, but so if you have like you have a C25 bottle that you had for MIG welding, and say you want to go over to argon or whatever.
Yeah, if you're going to TIG, you just got to have an argon bottle. And
Yeah, you just trade it out and say, hey, I want to swap it out for argon, and then you just pay for the price of the gas.
right.
And I think argon, I think there's like a $5 or $10 price difference. It's not very much. But we ended up with three set oxyacetylene bottle sets that
Oh, wow.
I got for free. Well, two I got
That's
for
a good
free.
price.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. I got Morgan. So Morgan does jewelry with oxyacetylene. And when we first got together, it was right around the time that I got my first MIG 200 welder, and I was welding with FluxCore because I couldn't afford a bottle.
Yeah.
And so she had her little oxyacetylene set, and she traded in her bottles to get me a small C25 bottle.
Oh, wow.
And so then I ended up going back once things picked up, and I just outright bought her those bottles back. But we got two of the large, I don't know, they're probably about this tall, two sets of the oxyacetylene bottles, and we traded one oxygen out for C25, and we traded the other oxygen out for 100% argon. So now we have two bottles of each gas.
Yeah.
But we can't trade an acetylene bottle for any other gas other than acetylene because the tank
Right.
apparently has a membrane in it.
Yeah, the tank is in order to keep the acetylene stable in the tank, they've got the membrane and acetone in there. And that's
Yeah.
why you don't want to go up above 15 on the gauge, or everything inside the bottle becomes very unstable.
Mhm.
You could have a bad day. So
Isn't I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, I know it's the original choice for cutting, but isn't basically, for lack of a better term, isn't acetylene basically napalm in a jar?
um I I'm really not sure. I've heard stories all over the map, but I do know from a cost perspective, back in my shipyard days when they started recycling ships, they'd reach the end of their service life and they'd defuel them, demilitarize them, and then they'd put them in one of the dry docks and they'd start cutting them up. Well, they figured out real quick from a cost perspective that acetylene to cut up a submarine is pretty expensive. So they went oxypropane. And I mean, we're talking cutting pressure holes on a submarine with oxypropane, and it worked just fine. And it was a fraction of the cost of using acetylene. And so I've often thought about switching over, just getting propane tips and not using acetylene anymore because it's expensive. And then,
Right.
of course, certifying those bottles, there's a lot more to it because of all the extra stuff inside. And then propane's a lot more stable. And for what I do in my little fabric cobble shop, oxypropane would be more than enough. Funny story. Our local propane distributor down the road here, that's where I go to get all my bottles filled. Well, he's into racing. And my old buddy Jim, that's in the tractor club, he is an old school petroleum guy. I mean, he worked the North Slope in Alaska for years. He was a platform supervisor, and there's nothing about the refining and drilling for oil and gas that he doesn't know. I mean, he's 90 years old. He's an encyclopedia when it comes to that stuff.
Right.
Well, this guy's on this propane company. He was building himself a race truck, and he was going to run it off propane, twin turbo. And so my old buddy Jim, he's in there getting a bottle filled or something, and he's talking to the guy that owns it, and he's explaining how he's building this truck. And Jim's listening to me, and he goes, "You don't want to do that. You're going to burn your truck up." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Forced turbocharged high pressure air with propane for fuel and ignition." He says, "You're building an internal torch in your engine."
Yeah.
The guy didn't believe him. First time on the strip, lights that thing up about halfway down, kaboom!
Yeah.
Just destroyed that engine. And he says it was a cutting torch from the inside out. Just
Pretty
wasted
much.
it. So, I mean, when you're talking about building a race engine, and Bill would know better than me what kind of money goes into building a race engine, and you watch it just melt in a pool of molten metal in the middle of the racetrack. You
Well-
used an oxypropane torch for a fuel source.
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Uh,
Well, and, like it's interesting too. So I don't know if you were familiar with Jesse Engineering in Tacoma. It's a industrial fab shop. I mean, they do some big stuff.
were they down like in Fife or down on the Tacoma waterfront?
Yeah, down by the waterfront,
Okay.
kind of by the ports.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of right off of 509.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I know where that's at. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have some old Heister forklifts. I want to say these things are they're somewhere between the 40s and the 60s, and they're big. They're probably 90,000 pound forklifts. Their operating weight's not that heavy, but that's what they physically weigh.
Right. Big old
and-
school forklifts.
Yeah, and they're propane powered.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's, I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with propane powered equipment, but you would think even a diesel engine from that era would be better for that application, but they just run propane tanks on them.
Yeah. Well, that goofball pump jack trailer you've seen in some of my videos that I take to all the tractor and engine shows. That's all propane powered. I got a big RV tank hanging on the side of that thing. And they've got IMCO demand regulators. You can't use like a barbecue regulator. You got to
Right.
use a demand regulator so it meters the fuel properly. And they run all day on propane. And in fact, I took it over to that place the other day to fill it because all these county fairs I've been going to with that thing. And the guy, kid that was filling my tank, and he goes, "Well, how long does this tank last running these engines?" And I go, "Well, depending on how many shows I go to, 3 or 4 years." Those little one lung horizontal shaft engines, they just sip the fuel, and so I go forever running on propane, and yeah, and it, you don't have exhaust stink all day long.
Yeah, that's true. Well, so in my experience with propane, the one application propane never lasts in is an RV.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
and I can tell
Especially
you with a degree of high certainty that it always runs out at 2 a.m.
Well, Nancy and I spent 16 months on the road after we left Washington before we bought this place. We spent
Right.
16 months on the road in an RV, and I learned really quick that when you turn that furnace on at night, you're going to have an empty bottle in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we didn't run that furnace very much. We had a couple of little portable electric heaters we would run,
yeah.
and that worked okay. But yeah, running that furnace just that gobbled the propane really fast.
Oh,
You know, the
big time.
cooktop and all that was fine, but and the refrigerator would run on it if we weren't plugged into shore power. But yeah, the furnace would just suck the propane right out of that tank.
Oh, absolutely. So when I actually when I moved up here in 14, um, I bought an RV and I lived in an RV for probably 5 years.
Oh
Uh,
wow, you're a diehard.
well, it wasn't so. My thing is
This
I
is very nice.
yeah it wasn't a clunker. I
He's
made sure
bougie.
I made sure it was a nice one, but uh, um, my my thing is I don't like it here. I don't like Washington, um, and so I never knew if I was going to stay here, so I didn't buy anything. And
Right.
so I was just like, it was just one of those, I was so undecided on what I wanted to do. So I didn't buy a house, which in hindsight now kind of screwed me with the prices. But anyway, um, so I just found an RV park. It was like $400 a month. And then you just paid your electric and everything else was included.
Pretty
Uh,
standard.
yeah. So what I did was, as I went down to Feral Gas and I had them bring out one of those big pots that's probably, I don't know, shoot, 4 foot around and probably 5 foot tall.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I think I think they hold 100 gallons.
About that. Like 120, I think is
Yeah.
what they are.
Yeah. Their max fills 120, and I think 100, 80 or 100 of it's usable.
And then you set up for automatic fill then,
Yep. Yep.
and you'd be at work, they'll come fill it, send you the bill, or you just automatically pay it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was exactly the first. It takes a while because obviously you have increased capacity, so you're. I think it takes 2 or 3 fills before they gauge your usage on when to send the truck automatically.
Right.
But it was. I never ran out again at 2 a.m.
That's kind of nice
Yeah.
in Western Washington in January. You know that your furnace can come on with some, you know, regularity. But what I did when we were on the road, of course, I had the standard pretty large RV bottle, and I bought an auxiliary bottle. I forget how many gallon it is. I think it's a 10-gallon bottle, pretty heavy when it's full. And then I bought a kit where I could tie that in with my main tank. So when the main tank got low or ran out, it would switch to this auxiliary bottle. And the same kind of thing. And then because we'd typically stay for a month wherever we were at. And I didn't want to unhook the RV and haul it down someplace and have it filled. So I had the auxiliary bottle. And that worked really good. And so when that got low, I just we were towing Nancy's Subaru on my car trailer behind the RV. So when the auxiliary bottle got low, I just threw it in the car and took it down to the local shop and filled it up. And that worked pretty
Yeah.
good for us.
There you go. Now, one thing I learned in my many years of propane living, vertical tanks have certifications. Horizontal tanks never have to be certified.
Yeah. 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 So I got that big horizontal tank on my pump jack trailer, and I don't have to worry about certification. It's just a big old RV tank hanging there. And what's Bill up to here?
He said Mama just got home from a ladies' event and now he's hearing all about it.
Okay, well, he will not be participating in this conversation for a while. I know the conversation he's having right now. I've had it many times myself. So
I don't even have to come home to hear it. It gets on the phone.
I'm preemptive.
So I'm sorry, I got to share this. Do not be offended. It's a joke. Take it for what it is. And my wife has heard this so many times, she just rolls her eyes. But the average man says 5,000 words a day.
Women
The
say-
average woman says 25,000 words a day, with gusts up to 60.
Facts. He'll usually
For what it's worth, you know. And that did not come out of the Truly Tasteless joke book either. I learned that at a men's retreat from church years ago, and
Oh,
of course
we're
we could all get away with it there because it was nothing but guys.
right.
For some reason, the gals never saw the humor in that. So
No, he'll tell me, honey, do you want to go thrift shopping? Do you need to go somewhere? Like, you should get out of the house for the day. What are your girls up to? Can I buy them lunch? That's how it always goes.
Oh, so I guess Bill's missus is mad at both of us now.
yeah, well, Bill, for what it's worth, Nancy was out in the kitchen and she overheard, so I'm getting it from that side too.
And I will stay.
Morgan's literally standing right here off camera.
Yeah, so you can tell Deb that that Nancy and Deb and Morgan have, yeah, they've let us know. So,
Our ESPN's linked up.
Yeah. So to that end, I sent Morgan this picture of a railroad yard, and the caption was "a man's brain," and it's a single track, and then it says "a woman's brain," and it's a rail yard, and it looks like train tracks just laid out like a bowl of spaghetti going everywhere.
oh, it's
And-
like the woman's shopping pattern.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I sent Morgan that because I can't track her main story and her 7,000 side quests at the same time.
I'm still trying to find out what tab has music playing.
Yeah, she doesn't. And then it's it's not unique to Morgan. I know a lot of women that do this. They'll start the main story, and then they have 7,000 side quests, and then it ties right back into the main story, and then it does this again.
We have to give
And in the middle of all of that,
okay.
to make sure that you are listening with rapt attention,
exactly.
they will throw in something as a test to see if you're actually listening or if you're just nodding along.
100%.
So
Look at me. Make eye contact.
I literally make eye contact with Morgan, and I'm like, okay. And then I get the right act. She's like, you never listen to me, and I'm like, babe, I'm sorry, but your voice just blends in with the static noise, and I just can't pull it out.
Well, and I've got a
People
double
don't
whammy because I've got some pretty significant hearing loss. My left ear is gone, and now my right ear is going. And in fact, I got an appointment Tuesday with the audiologist for upgraded hearing aids. So, in the middle of all of that railroad track diverging and going and this and that in the middle of the conversation, I'm only picking up every second or third word anyway.
Right.
So I'm really behind the eight ball really fast.
Oh, well, like, so I have the doctor says, Brandon, you have hearing loss. And I'm like,
just to my voice.
no, it's just Morgan doesn't talk loud enough. No, but because they put you in those sound booths and they do the little beep tests or whatever.
Right.
And they're like, well, you have hearing loss. And I'm like, no, I've literally heard the same way my entire life. And I do have some hearing loss as a kid. The eustachian tubes that drain your ears, mine were underdeveloped, so they put tubes in, but because of that, the chronic ear infections, it actually damaged my hearing. I hear better out of my left than I do my right.
My oldest son had the same problem when he was a little tyke. We had to finally have to put the tubes in. He was living on amoxicillin for months, just chronic ear infections. And we finally had to put the tubes in him. And Doc really didn't like doing that, but he says, we got no option at this point. So yeah, there is some truth to what you're saying. It can do some damage. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. I took amoxicillin so much as a kid. I don't think it even works on me anymore.
Yeah. Well, that was with our son. Nope. It just, after a while, his body built up a tolerance to it and it just didn't work. So, of all of our kids, he's the one that suffered most with the ear infections, and he had other sinus problems too. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I still have sinus issues. Like right now, as the weather's changing, I get chronic sinus headaches, and then it almost feels like a sinus infection. You get the whole bloody
yeah,
snot thing going on, but it's just they dry out so bad with the temperature swing.
yeah. And then, you add the Puget Sound constant barometric pressure changes too, and your head just explodes. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
the way
yeah,
life is up there. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I used to
one of
be
the.
built for the weather up here, but I'm cold all the time now, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Well,
You have lost a lot of weight this last year, though.
yeah, I've dropped what 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, I've lost 45 pounds in the last year. And I never used to be cold. I mean, it would be winter time and I got a t-shirt on and I'm just sweating.
Yeah.
And now, actually, this last week, I haven't taken my hoodie off once at work. Usually, an hour into work, I'm out in a t-shirt again because I'm roasting.
Yeah. Well, you've crossed 40, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm 41 now.
Yeah, but it has begun. See, my oldest son is 45, my youngest son is 43, and our oldest daughter just turned 40. And now we're starting to hear, when we're talking with them, we're starting to hear the stuff, things are changing, and I used to be able to do this and that. And I thought, oh, yeah, you hit the magic mark. Welcome to
Well,
my world.
what's the saying? I'm probably going to butcher this, but it says the greatest injury to men is old men thinking they're still young men.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
Exactly true. And I've hurt myself enough times to the point where, I've swallowed my pride and I know I'm not 25 anymore. And yeah, I could pick up that 100-pound thing and then I'll be on the heating pad for a week and complaining. And and my wife has no sympathy because she knows I'm hurting because I did something stupid. So
And you can't hide
you're
it.
you're on your own. It's your fault. You know better. And she's right. And so now I look at that 100-pound thing and I'm going, the cherry picker sitting right there. I think I'm just gonna, use the old mechanical advantage and then go in the house and my back won't hurt. So
Well, and that's just it. Like it, like when you're trying to explain it to a supervisor, and this is not something that I deal with, but um, I have dealt with it before. Where they're like, dude, just grab that and carry it. And I'm like, no, there's a forklift right there. You know that 12 by weighs like 100 pounds.
yeah.
Why am I going to carry that and wrench my body for, minimum wage?
Yeah. When there's a
Use it.
forklift right
Yeah,
there. Yeah, exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, and so, and it's like when I was in my 20s, I never jumped off of the trailers or anything like that. But you'd always hear the old timers telling the young guys, quit jumping off there. You're going to ruin your hips, knees, and back.
Yeah.
And,
They were right.
mhm. I didn't
Yep.
even jump off anything and I've got a bad back. And so I've had 3 spine surgeries since 16. And after the first one, I thought I was like brand new, and all this stuff. And then a couple years later, I did something stupid, carrying a 12 by on my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And next thing you know, I can't use my legs again. And so after the third surgery, I kind of, it was detrimental to my overall well-being, but I babied my back so much my core actually got weak.
Yeah.
And then it was really hard. Like if I laid down, like to go to bed or just laid on the floor, whatever, it would be an hour before I could stand up straight and even walk without a cane.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
and it took a lot of years to get back. I'm probably 80%, 85%. The thing I deal with the most now is because there's nerve damage from that back injury, is my right leg is dodgy sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it I don't move like I used to, and it's definitely harder to get up off the floor. But now when I lay down for whatever reason, it doesn't take me an hour, 2 hours to get moving. As soon as I get back to my feet, I can just carry on again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
My problem getting up, if I'm working on something, and of course, out on the concrete, I got a big, thick foam knee pad now. And so, but getting up off the floor, see, I got my right knee's bad. When I was about 16 years old, I had an argument with a canyon swing and I lost. It screwed up my right knee. So it's weak anyway. And so getting up off the concrete floor, even with a knee pad, I've got to use my arms. And of course, at my age, my arms aren't exactly strong anymore. And so it's a bit of a challenge getting up. But I tell myself, well, you got to just keep doing that because once you stop getting down on the floor, when you try to do it again, you'll never get up again.
yeah, yeah.
You better you, you better have a long tether on the remote for the overhead hoist so you can hoist yourself up because
Morgan got me a wireless controller for the winch. So, real quick, Bill, actually, no, I have no titanium. It's all me. What's left of me. They were, yeah, so there's no rods or pins in my spine. What they did was they removed my L4, L5 disc completely. And they did not fuse me because of my age. The surgeon explained that because of my age and what I do for a living, that if they fused me in 5 to 10 years, they would have to fuse up and down another vertebrae because it transfers the pressure. And it would eventually rupture the disc above and the disc below the fusion. But my boss, his wife, her spine is fused neck to tailbone. I think if I remember correctly, he said it was due to severe arthritis.
man,
But
that's going to be miserable.
Yeah. So I don't have a fusion, but they did say it at some point in my lifetime they are going to have to fuse it. But because of the location in the spine, and I was like, what's that going to do for mobility? And he goes, you're going to be pretty stiff. He goes, it's not that bad because it's not in your upper spine where the neck and stuff is. I said, well, I'm already stiff as it is. I don't bend and flex that well. He goes, if you're pretty rigid in that area right now, he goes, you're not going to notice it.
Yeah. Well, as bad as it is, that's a good thing in a way.
Well,
I got a friend of mine that's he was hit by a car as a kid, screwed up his left leg, where they had to fuse his leg, and he's it's like walking with a chunk of 3-inch channel for a leg. Nothing moves, and so he has to stiff walk, and his problem is that causes other things to be painful because they have to account for this leg that's not working right. And so he's in pain quite a bit and on pain management and that kind of stuff. I mean, he still gets around and does stuff. And, but, fusing can be a wonderful thing, but then there's side effects too. So,
Yeah. So I ran into when we were doing the Sound Transit Light Rail project through Federal Way, one of the Kiewit guys, he had spine surgery in the same location that I did, but they have this new thing where they can actually remove the disc and put a titanium and Teflon disc back in.
really?
Yeah, and my doctor didn't even bring that up to me, and I don't know if it's something he just doesn't do or what the deal was, but also it might be a dimensional issue. So this is kind of a funny story my mom tells. So after
Bless you, Morgan.
Thank you.
she said thank you. So when I got out of surgery, like when you go in for surgery, the doctor comes out and they talk to your family and tell you how it went and all that sort of stuff. So the surgeon comes out and he's talking with my mom, and he says to my mom, "He's a big guy." And my mom goes, "Yeah, I know he is." And he goes, "No, he's a big guy." And she goes, "Yeah, I've had him his whole life. I know he's a big guy." And he goes, "No, you don't understand." He goes, "I've been doing spine surgeries for 20 plus years." And he goes, "I've never seen vertebrae as large as his."
Wow.
And so I was like, finally, I had validation, because when I was a kid, there was no such thing as big bone.
And you're walking, talking proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but I guess I always thought the stuff inside the discs in your spine was just like donut jelly, but apparently it looks like crab meat.
Yeah. Our oldest son, when he was a teenager, I forget which the lower discs he compressed. He got into weightlifting, but he wasn't being careful, going too far too fast, and he compressed a couple of discs in his back, not weightlifting, but thinking he was Superman. He was picking up something heavy out of the back of the car, and he bent over and craned his back and lifted up like a crane, and boom. So, and I remember the doctor explaining all that to us about, what's in there. And if you are, in the case of my son, if you're careful and everything, they'll actually kind of reinflate, if he doesn't do anything else stupid, which in his case that worked. Lucky for us and lucky for him.
Right.
And, but yeah.
Yeah. There was none of that for me. Mine was when my disc herniated, it collapsed the nerves by over 50%.
Ooh, that's the painful part.
Yeah. And even still today, I get sciatic nerve pain in the right cheek. But it's nothing like it was prior to the surgery. Prior to surgery, the nerve from the root to my ankle was just like a lightning bolt that never ended.
Oh, ouch.
And they actually gave me an injection into my spine, a hydrocortisone shot, and it actually inflamed it 100% worse.
Oh, that must be excruciating. You're living, breathing proof of that phrase. I've got one nerve left, and you're getting on it.
Yeah.
I'm just tapping my toes and I'm being deaf over here, dancing on the nerve.
Yeah, it was so bad. So to give you an idea, the doctor flat out said, his words were, "You are fucked up." Really, really bad. I mean, word for word, verbatim.
Wow.
And so he goes, I'm gonna send you home with a large prescription of Dilaudid
Wow.
until we can get you in for surgery. And he goes, you take as much as you need to get comfortable. He goes, but don't exceed, I think it was like 20 in a day.
Man.
And he goes, I'm not worried about a chance of opioid addiction. He goes, because your pain is so intense that he goes, your body's not going to have time to process that. It's going to chew through the medications.
Right.
And so funny thing is, I probably took enough every day to drop a horse. And I was on so much heavy narcotic prescriptions for the pain that I could actually see a water level in my vision.
My goodness.
And it didn't do anything. I mean, it would help very, very minimal. The only thing it would let me do is be able to sleep for a half hour or 45 minutes. But other than that, I hurt so bad I couldn't sleep. I mean, I was awake for days at a stretch because of the pain. And the only way I could get relief was if I laid on my my right side, and it would position my spine just enough laying on my right side to take some pressure off of the nerves. And I always slept on my stomach, and now I can't sleep on my stomach. I literally every night sleep on my side. And Morgan's like, are you going to cuddle me? And I'm like, you're facing the wrong way. Because I can't lay on my left side because it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't feel natural anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. I think each surgery, all said and done, I had 3 of them. So we're over $500,000 in spine repair.
Man. Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah. Thank God for the insurance we had. So I think each one cost me. Yeah, each surgery cost me like $5,000 out of that, $150,000+ deal. The surgery itself wasn't the expensive part. It was like $32,000. It's the hospital bills.
The hospitals. Yep, that's the big one. The nursing staff, all that stuff, and hospital costs. It ain't cheap. Yeah, we got a daughter that's a nurse, and you go to the hospital, you got to have deep pockets.
For real.
Oh, that's so okay. So here's some perspective on that. So the doctor prescribes a prescription for, say, 30 pills of Vicodin, right? And with insurance, it costs, I want to say,
$2 or $1.
like it's like under $5. One Vicodin pill administered in the hospital is like $40.
Man,
yeah,
the markup is incredible.
Oh, it is. It's insane. Now, and Bill's right. It was worth every penny because, brother, I know you know that pain, and it is nothing pleasant. It is absolute living hell. But and to that end, Bill, my last surgery, I was laying on my side when I went into surgery, and when I came up or started waking up from the anesthesia, I freaked out because I was laying on my back, and I hadn't done that in like 4 months. And I was like, oh crap, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And the nurses actually came and grabbed my arms because I was trying to roll myself over after the surgery. And they're like, no. You're in recovery. Everything went well. You're okay. You can relax. But
yeah,
it's so to put it in perspective, it was one of the worst things that's happened in my life, but out of it came a lot of really, really great things. And I always talk to Morgan about there being a silver lining in the bad stuff. And
Oh yeah, absolutely there is.
yeah, and so physically it was the worst, and in the beginning, mentally, it was the worst because I'm a blue collar worker. All I know how to do is go to work and grind out the hours because that's how my dad was. My dad worked all the time, 7-day rotating shift, and I didn't know how to function without being able to go to work. And I was freaking out about the bills. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to do that? And then I got to a realization, like, you know what? I don't have it. They'll get it when I have it. And I'm not going to stress about it because stressing about it's not going to make it any better. And it was a major turning point in my life all the way around. And so it allowed me to function better and process the crap in life better than how I used to.
Yeah, that's the key. Hey, it's after 7 o'clock, guys. The time just flew by. I'm gonna have to exit the chat.
Yep, that's
But I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. I mean, we could probably go on like this for another 2 or 3 hours. I mean, the time just is flying by.
No,
But
absolutely. You're on Arizona's
plus, I think my wife wants the living room back.
Oh, there you go. There
It's
you
for
go.
showtime.
Yeah. Morgan
but-
was just doing this to me.
Oh, okay. You got the high sign too. All right, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But seriously, no, I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. I had a wonderful time chatting with you, and when I could engage with the guys over in the comments too. This is really fun. You guys really hit on a really good idea doing this Saturday night podcast thing. That's
Yeah.
you
I
forced
think
this old man into the 21st century by figuring out how to use StreamYard.
well, so I have an idea, and probably next month I want to do like a group, get a bunch of people all together because you can add multiple people to this. I think up to 6
Yeah, I
people
saw
on
that
stage.
functionality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun thing. You bet.
Yeah. So I think we'll shoot for that prior to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
cool.
Friendsgiving online. Like
Cool.
everyone has to bring their snacks.
Yeah.
Maybe we could discuss ideas for Secret Santa projects because that's coming up, and I'm still grinding away what I'm going to do for that.
Right.
Yeah. So are we. We're doing that this year too, and we got a couple ideas on the table, but we're gonna have to at some point pull one out of the air and put it in play.
Yeah, I've got an idea for mine too, but with me, it's always making something out of rusty junk.
Yeah, that's
So far, I've been successful.
Well, Morgan's lucky because around here I am the rusty junk.
walk around with an oil can.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Bill, or
Yeah.
sorry, Bill, Matt. I was just reading Bill's comment. Matt, it was awesome having you on here. We had a really great time.
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate the invite and bantering with you too. It was really, really enjoyable, and so thanks again for having me. And definitely, I'm in for a group chat the next time whenever you can set it up. Unless there's a number of other people that haven't done it with you yet, I don't want to hog the show, so, but
Oh, no.
keep me in
It's
mind if you want to, if you're going to have the group thing, I'm happy to join in.
well, I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get Glenn and Bill on, and then we're gonna try and get Chris from Whiskey Dents on also.
Oh,
And-
cool. Yeah, Chris would be good. He can talk
Yeah.
all about the no floorboards in that early 60s Ford pickup. He just
Yeah,
took
exactly.
all.
And then so I think what I want to do is I want to get all of you guys on and have your own time on individually, and then I want to get a group of us together. We'll just have to see what works with everybody's schedules.
Sounds cool. Well, my schedule's wide open because I'm just an old retired guy, and I spend all my day out in the shop and then all evening snoozing in this chair right here. So
Well, like Morgan said, every day is Saturday when you're retired, which is great because I'm not retired and every day is Monday.
yeah, there you go. Well, just remember, Monday's the best day of the week because once Monday's over, it's all downhill from there. So
Well, Monday is the first of 5 Mondays.
Well, technically only 4 other wake ups.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it was
Yeah.
great having you. Great chatting with you.
All right, thanks, you guys. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Yep, everybody, thank you so much for joining. And don't forget, if you already haven't, to check out Matt the Scrap Whisperer's channel. Give him a subscribe and a like on his videos, and do the same for Midnight Custom, C20, and Foothill Mow.
Yep, you bet.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Have a good night.
See you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That was a very good stream, honey.